Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 15th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. As always, Thursday doesn't disappoint. Well, I shouldn't say that. I definitely have had some bad Thursdays, but this was not one of the bad ones. It was one of the good ones. So you always like when your favorite day is a good day, right? So, let's see. What did we do? What happened? Not much. We just went to work. It was mildly busy. I stayed on it all day, but it really wasn't like I didn't feel too crazy. Didn't feel too crushed. Pardon the pun. Let's see here. Food corner was not much. It was pretty scant. I kind of didn't really want to eat after all the chicken tendies and fries and popcorn. So I just kind of had a light snack, which now that I think about it, it's kind of funny that I had more popcorn. Granted, I had a handful of caramel and cheese popcorn that I got from the store. Very yummy. Shout out to Creators. I think it's what you call them. I think it's how you pronounce it. Y'all know I'm terrible with pronunciations. Let's see. I had a handful of grapes and I had a handful of peanuts. So there you go. That's how I've been living. And then, the usual snack chips and whatnot at work. So, we're hanging in there. We're fine. Let's see here. Nothing else to really report in about. Like I said, I feel like I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good place. So that's always nice to report into y'all about. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. Hopefully that sounds good to you. Ooh, yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and cue it up and get into it. Our first story comes from CBS News. Russia sentences dual citizen Ksenia Karlina to 12 years in penal colony for treason. Very crazy story. Update, though. I say crazy, but I wouldn't say that I'm that surprised. I'm sure longtime listeners are not that surprised to hear this. Russian American Ksenia Karlina was sentenced by a Russian court to 12 years in a penal colony on Thursday after pleading guilty to treason earlier this month. She was arrested earlier this year while on a trip to Russia for donating $51 to an American-based humanitarian group helping Ukrainians suffering in the war, according to Russian state media. Karlina's lawyer, Mikhail Mushailov, said shortly after the sentence was handed down that Karlina would appeal. She admitted guilt in terms of transferring funds, but did not admit her intent. Sorry, an ad's in the way. Did not admit her intent aimed at transferring funds to those organizations where they most likely arrived. Mushalov said she did not assume that the funds she transferred would be used for anti-Russian actions, which obviously, this is a very crazy action by Russia, but it lines up with the idea of them just collecting American prisoners like Infinity Stones. Obviously, it's very unfortunate because we just covered a big prison swap of 4 prisoners. Getting sent back to America, if I'm not mistaken, right? Of course, that was a 24-person prisoner swap in total. And you find out that one of your loved ones isn't one of those people, that's going to be heartbreaking. So for sure, it's definitely now she's kind of like the new Paul Whelan, it almost looks like. But maybe it's a little bit too soon to say. I really wouldn't want to put that on anybody. Once again, not that Paul Whelan is a bad guy. I feel like I rag on that too much, and that's a my bad. But I can't get out of the black hole of a bad joke. Anyway, let's see here. Let's scroll ahead. This whole trial is bogus. Karlina's boyfriend, Chris Van Heerden, we're going to say Heerden, told CBS News, Ksenia should be home, and I'm angry. I'm angry, and I'm trying to hold my composure. Let's see. Harden said that because Karlina is a dual U.S. Russian citizen, the U.S. State Department has had no access to her in detention. More or less, he's just talking about what I just described, how he waited for like 8 months, how, U.S. officials were coming to him whenever he was asking questions saying like, hey, things are going to be slow. Most likely you're not going to hear anything about a prison swap until after the election, yada, yada, yada. And then next thing you know, he's hearing about a big prison swap and his girlfriend isn't involved. And it's also adding, I'm sure maybe he feels maybe a level of guilt, not that I'm blaming him or anything like that, but he, as a gift to his girlfriend, he gave her a trip to Russia, like paid for it, so that she could see her family. So obviously that's something that's very important to her. That's why she was in Russia. And then all this unfolds, and because of literally a mere donation, that's enough for her to be landed in jail for treason over a decade in a penal colony. So, like, obviously that's crazy. That doesn't fucking add up. Like, I'm not going to try to make any rhyme or reason out of that. Like, it's very plain, very bold face. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it's very sad. It's very unfortunate. Hopefully, I'm going to be covering an update of her getting home. But we talked about that back when we were talking about the prisoner swap, that, we mindfully knew that there were other people being held in, some kind of Russian penitentiary or in some kind of trial basis, and they probably shouldn't be there. They're there over minor crimes, or, they're over sentenced for the reason of just being more or less tied to America. You know what I mean? So obviously that's sad. That's very unfortunate. And that, I only have the perspective of Americans. Maybe there's some UK motherfuckers or other, motherfuckers from Western countries that might be under the same kind of scrutiny in Russia. I don't know. I haven't heard them talked about. So, it's kind of mum to me. I don't know. But I did want to talk about this, give an update where I can. So we'll go ahead and call that covered. I want to kind of move along. It's a pretty loaded episode. We got a fully loaded, I want to say potato, and I don't think you can say a loaded potato. You can say a loaded spud. I want to say potato or burrito, but I'm in the weeds about something stupid now. Anyway, from The Guardian, Ukrainian team blew up Nordstream pipeline, claims report. Man, this is one of those, didn't we call it? The speculation hat was right on, dude. That motherfucker was not lying to me. I came up with that all on my own. Anyway, let's see. Let's read. Let's talk about it. The Nord Stream gas pipeline was blown up by a small Ukrainian sabotage team in an operation that was initially approved by Volodymyr Zelensky and then called off, but which went ahead anyway, according to claims in a report in the Wall Street Journal. So this was big. Granted, you still got to say allegedly, even though, this kind of lays out the theory that people have been saying for a little bit on the issue. A spokesperson for the Ukrainian president has denied the claims. I guess it's definitely worth mentioning. The pipeline, consisting of the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines, carried natural gas from Russia to Germany under the Baltic Sea. It was damaged by explosions in September of 2022, 7 months after Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, putting it out of action and worsening an energy crisis in Europe. Though it's worth mentioning that, Russia was already playing around with this. They were supposed to fulfill a contract, and they were kind of saying, looks like we're having problems with the pipeline. This is kind of not working. And it's like, dude, okay, we're already, queuing up for a long winter here. So, fuck you, whatever. But then, next thing you know, this happens, and it's like, okay, what's up? What's going on here? And I guess we can go ahead and read, because it's going to line up with my thoughts. Initially, many assumed Russia was to blame. Later, others suggested the CIA could have been involved. Last year, the New York Times reported that U.S. officials had seen intelligence suggesting a pro-Ukrainian group was behind the explosions, while last month, Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban called the explosions an act of terrorism carried out at the obvious direction of the Americans. So, there's definitely a lot of people saying, maybe even the Americans not just knew about it, but even, bumper stickered it or, said, yeah, go for it, do it, we'll help you. It does look like it's the situation up top, and that kind of lines up the most, where there was a team that kind of got put in place that was like, hey, we're down to do it. Let's do this shit. And it got okayed all the way up to the top. But then I think after there was a little bit of resistance from the CIA, who then knew about it, at least according to the speculation or allegation, whatever, Zelensky goes, okay, that's a bad idea, fine, we don't need to do that, stop it. But they're like, nah, let's fucking do this shit. Let's just fucking run that shit. Fucking cue the music. And they just did the shit. Maybe not a good idea given like the fallout, but they said fuck it, we ball. That being said, obviously this is a lot of speculation, but I want to fast forward a bit ahead here. On Wednesday, it emerged that German authorities had issued a European arrest warrant for a man identified as Vladimir Z, which, I mean, like, is that like a hard code name, or is that like literally the guy's name that I don't know. I'm a dumbass. I'm just going off of what I'm reading. A diving instructor who lived in Poland and is alleged to have dived down to the seabed to place the devices on the pipeline. So that's a big accusation. Polish prosecutors confirmed they had received a European arrest warrant for a man suspected of the involvement in the Nordstream attack. Ultimately, Vladimir Z was not detained as he left the territory of Poland at the beginning of July this year, crossing the Polish-Ukrainian border, prosecutors said in a statement. So he took the walk from Poland. Anyway. So, yeah, they couldn't get this guy. They couldn't apprehend him. There's also another guy who is an ambassador to the UK now, who was, like, heavily involved in this. And he's like, nah, I deny that shit. That shit didn't happen. Nah. And it's like, okay, all right, buddy. So I guess for right now, it's still speculation. Nothing is concrete, but I felt like, hey, I definitely want to talk about this shit because I know some motherfuckers are like saying, yes, we were motherfucking right. We totally knew this shit. This shit was a whole ass fucking op. And I mean, it looks like, at least if the Wall Street Journal is correct, that kind of lines up, It's looking real op-ish out here. I don't know. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next beat. We're actually going to Thailand. Another update from Thailand, from Al Jazeera. Big shock. Thailand faces political upheaval as prime minister removed from office. So last we left Thailand, the Move Forward Party had been dissolved. That was a big blow. I kind of thought that this was like related to that, and then I was listening to more details, and I go, oh, this is a whole new thing. So let's go ahead and get into it. With the removal of Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin from office by a court ruling after less than a year in power, Thailand has been thrown into political turmoil once again. Reading the Constitutional Court decision on Wednesday, Judge Punya Udachan said the judges ruled 5-4 in favor of dismissing Srettha of the Pheu Thai Party, as he had shown no honesty and breached ethical standards by appointing someone with a criminal conviction in his cabinet. Udachan said the real estate tycoon had failed to perform his duty with integrity and grossly violated ethics, as he must have known about former lawyer Pichit Chuaban's criminal record when he appointed him as a minister in his office in a cabinet reshuffle in April. Pichit, who was jailed for 6 months in 2008 for attempting to bribe court officials with 2 million baht, or $55,218 American USD, placed in a paper grocery bag, resigned from the post in May in an attempt to protect Srettha. Also, I don't know why they went to such details. It was like, and it was in a paper grocery bag. It was so low. It was so low key, so discreet. It's kind of like when we talk about, like, yeah, he had the funds in his farm or like under the bed. It's like, okay, I mean, hey, I guess location and description is everything. But anyway, but that month, Constitutional Court judges voted 6-3 to accept a petition submitted by 40 senators to remove Srettha from office. Wednesday's ruling came at the end of their investigation into the allegations. Srettha's dismissal means he is Thailand's fourth prime minister in 16 years to be removed following rulings by the Constitutional Court. He told the reporters outside his office that while he respected the verdict, he was sad to be labeled dishonest. Which, I mean, it's a bummer, right? And especially from what I've kind of heard reading this article, that, like, this is supposed to be kind of a trivial thing. It shouldn't have been, like, dealt so heavily, but it kind of makes sense that there's, like, political moves afoot here. And, this is done for a bigger purpose. Which I'm not going to get into too much details about, but I did want to kind of talk about now, I guess, the political scramble. But yeah, Futai is now scrambling to replace, scrambling to firm a replacement candidate with the Thai parliament to convene a special session to vote on the issue at 10 a.m. on Friday. So I may be having an update in Thailand very soon incoming. The party can choose only those who are nominated as prime ministerial candidates prior to the 2023 election. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them, but I probably want to hit at least two of them. Ken Mathis Lote Penat, a Thai political commentator and PhD candidate in the Department of Political Science at the University of Michigan, told Al Jazeera that 75-year-old Futai Justice Minister Chekasim Netisiri was currently the favorite to get the nod. And then another leading contender is 37-year-old Futai leader Pei Tongtarn Sinaratra, the daughter of former Prime Minister Takin Sinaratra and niece of Yingluck Sinaratra, also a former Prime Minister. Takin was removed in a military coup in 2006 and Yingluck in 2014. So I believe Toscan has kind of come back. It took a lot for him to get back here. He's technically out on bail, I think, so potentially that could get, like, revoked in any kind of fucking situation if I'm getting that correct. So things are definitely on a wire. Who knows how this shit's really gonna go and shake out. But this is definitely a big update. You know, like I said, first we were talking about the Move Forward Party. Was it last week? Now this. A lot of change, a lot of tumult. I feel like, too, it's kind of a bummer, too, because I feel like from what I'm kind of gathering, once again, I kind of say, hey, sorry in advance, I might be getting it wrong, but it felt like the Futai Party was supposed to kind of be in solidarity with the Move Forward Party, and they kind of just immediately just kind of wobbled and waffled when the Constitutional Court kind of came a knocking. And they're like, yeah, we're going to fold. And then the MFP was like, hey, we're not going to fold here. We just really want you guys to do, like, this thing, like, make it okay to at least say something about the Constitution or the fucking monarchy. Like, that's all we're really asking for here. And they're like, nah, fuck that shit. You're done. Clapped. And it now looks like, even though that the Futai Party kind of capitulated, that wasn't enough, and now they're doing more, I almost want to say political intrigue, realpolitik, whatever, and he's getting canned for a potential new PM that's either going to be more pliable, or who knows, maybe this is once again kind of going back to the Toscan thing, which I kind of wanted to, I guess, leave that on. Toscan, who was again indicted for royal defamation in June, as one possible explanation for the Constitutional Court's surprising ruling against Sarita. He said people have speculated the move is a rebuff to Thaskin, and there could be some internal politics at play. So yeah, like, essentially, I guess maybe this guy was going to be backed by Thaskin, so it's kind of like, hey, this might be the heir apparent in a situation where now he's getting canned, so we'll take the niece or whatever, the heir apparent to Thaskin. So yeah, there's a lot going on in Thailand, there's a lot going on everywhere, and my dumbass is just trying to do the best I can to tell you what's happening in my own words, with some articles as a little bit of a backbone there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and call that covered for now. But like I said, I might be back to it again this weekend. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Disney. Crazy, slick ass, fucking slimy move by Disney here. And yeah, I felt compelled to talk about this one. From CNN, Disney wants wrongful death suit thrown out because widower bought an Epcot ticket and had Disney Plus. So this is also a cautionary tale to my Disney Plus enjoyers out there. Disney stays scheming. Let's talk about it. A man suing Walt Disney Parks and Resorts for the wrongful death of his wife is facing a new legal hurdle. Disney is trying to get it thrown out of court and sent to arbitration because he signed up for Disney Plus years ago. Court documents show that the company is trying to get the $50,000 lawsuit tossed because the plaintiff, Jeffrey Piccolo, signed up for a 1-month trial of the streaming service Disney Plus in 2019, which requires trial users to arbitrate all disputes with the company. So, to me, this is a moonshot. I think Piccolo's lawyer has more or less echoed the same thing. That this is fucking preposterous. Like, that's crazy. They also doubled down on this, adding, company lawyers also claim that because Piccolo used Walt Disney Parks' website to buy Epcot Center tickets, Disney is shielded from the lawsuit from the estate of Piccolo's deceased wife, Kangaporn Tangswan, who died of a reaction to severe food allergies. And they try to put up another barrier of defense saying, hey, the restaurant that's on our premises isn't our restaurant. It's not like a Disney restaurant. So, like, technically take it up with them, not us. And it's like, bro, that's crazy. But we'll get a little bit more into that as we go. Walt Disney Parks and Resort is explicitly seeking to bar its 150 million Disney Plus subscribers from ever prosecuting a wrongful death case against it in front of a jury, even if the case facts have nothing to do with Disney Plus. Denny wrote in court papers as a response. It's so wild to me that they're trying this shit, and like, when you see it, like we heard the number earlier, right? $50,000. That's chump change to this company. But I truly feel like they're fighting this because of the idea of, like, look, dude, if we let this one in, people are going to be rushing to die at Disney, and then they're going to put it on us. And we've already talked about on this podcast how it's like literally on Disney property, they go out of their way to make it so it's like, you didn't die here, okay? You didn't die in the most magical place on earth. That didn't happen. You actually died outside of Disney, all right? Okay? And this is why, like, we talked about when we were talking about Ron DeSantis versus Disney, you know, the whole fucking Florida debacle, where it's like, look, dude, this is like a Godzilla situation where you're just like, yeah, let them fight, dog. These are two fucking monsters. But clearly, Ron DeSantis is not able. He cannot fight this fucking entity, okay? And look, like I said, fuck Ron DeSantis, fuck that meatball man. But that being said, Disney is demonic for this shit. It's crazy that they are trying to do an end run around your Disney Plus subscription to try to dodge a wrongful death suit. That's wild to me. But here we are. They're trying it. I'll read a quote from a Disney spokesperson. "We are deeply saddened by the family's loss and understand their grief." Okay, thank you. "Given that this restaurant is neither owned nor operated by Disney, we are merely defending ourselves against the plaintiff's attorney's attempt to include us in their lawsuit against the restaurant." It's like, dog, this is on your premises. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you're a part of this shit. Fuck that. In October 2023, Kangaporn Tangswan, her husband Jeffrey Piccolo, and Piccolo's mother dined at Raglan Road Irish pub in Disney Springs, which is part of the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. They chose to eat at the restaurant, the lawsuit states, because they believed it would have proper safeguards against serving dairy and nuts to Tangswan due to her allergies. The waiter guaranteed the couple that certain foods would be or could be made allergen-free, which the two confirmed several more times, according to the lawsuit. She also ordered a vegan fritter, scallops, onion rings, and a vegan shepherd's pie. Although some of the food delivered lacked allergen-free flags, the waiter again assured them it was allergen-free. But after dinner, Tangswan, 42, went shopping in the Disney Spring area and began suffering from a severe and acute allergic reaction, according to the lawsuit. Despite using an EpiPen, she died from anaphylaxis due to elevated levels of dairy and nut in her system. The lawsuit said, attributing the information to a medical examiner's investigation. So obviously, my condolences to the family, and I fucking hope they get their fucking money. That is not that much fucking money. Essentially, what Piccolo is asking for is that y'all just accept the fact that y'all fucked up. Like, I want you guys to all admit that you fucked up, and my wife is gone for that. I get that. Like, this is grief manifested in a legal lawsuit. Simple as. And these motherfuckers are simply trying to fight that like they are the goddamn Maleficent dragon. It's crazy to me. Fuck them, bro. I can't do it. I can't send Disney to Tomato Town. I'm not strong enough, but Lord knows they deserve to go. Each and every one of them. And I wish I could dethaw Walt Disney himself and put him in there too. Fuck it. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make light here. We have one more thing I wanted to cover, and then I'll let it go. I'll let you go. We can get on about our Thursday. Hopefully, like I said, it's been a good one. But, yeah, let me take a last break, and we'll go ahead and close it out. Gotta go back to school, y'all. Back to campus. Ooh, yummy, yummy, yummy. Our last story comes from Politico with a little assistance from Newsweek. Colombia president resigns in fallout from Israel-Hamas war protest. Columbia University's president resigned Wednesday, becoming the third Ivy League leader to be forced from office after anger over the Israel-Hamas war resulted in widespread protests and a sharp rise in complaints of religious discrimination on college campuses. Minouche Shafik, the first woman and first person of color to lead Columbia, announced her resignation amid lingering bitterness among students and faculty over the school's forced removal of protesters from an encampment and a building that they had taken over on campus in Upper Manhattan. So yeah, I mean, this marks the third one. I think there was a fourth person that got mentioned too, but they were kind of planning on doing this shit before the protest. It was like kind of like the last straw. But I know it was like Liz McGill, Claudine Gay, which I believe was at MIT and Harvard respectively. And I at least respect the two of them for, I remember when the hearing took place, they put up at least a little bit more of a fight on why they weren't just kicking out people and whatnot. Now, I initially gave Shafik high praise for just being the greatest tactician of amongst all the presidents and whatever, and just skipping the whole event saying, oh, I can't do it. I have other things I got to attend to. Sorry, can't make it. But eventually she did wind up getting in front of them, and she just became a whole yes man. And just like, okay, yes, we're trying to do our best we can to fight anti-Semitism and all that. Even though what we're really talking about, especially at its fucking core, are people protesting a fucking genocide in Gaza. You know, let's not lose track of that. What is it? I know that they've been touting some statistics. They're like, yep, 40,000. We've definitely hit that number. We've definitely crossed that threshold. So that's good to know. But yeah, Shafik came in, was a whole yes man, said, yeah, we're going to make sure that this, that the students are safe. We're going to crack down on these encampments, yada, yada, yada. And she did that. And in my mind, in my eyes, she became a person who's now fighting a two-front war. Because now the students aren't on your team. You know what I mean? There are literally situations that came up that when push came to shove, the staff, the whole staff up top, the deans, the president, whatever the fuck, came down and said, hey, let's sit down and talk and let's work on this shit. And Shafik kind of did that, but then also was like, no, I got to play to the people who are saying I'm being anti-Semitic here and yada, 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 and I got to keep the Jewish kids safe, so I got to bust you guys up. I got to fucking round you guys up and get you guys arrested and all that fucking shit. So yeah, I mean, she really made herself no fucking friends. And yeah, all the heads rolled at the end of the day, you know? So, I mean, it is what it is. It's unfortunate because this doesn't change anything. You know, I think that's another reason why I kind of got a bit burnt out on talking about these protests, because obviously I was really happy to see people come out and really, at the core, a lot of situations were like, look, we just don't want you guys to have ties to any of this shit at the end of the day. Like, that's what we want. Like, and I think at least having that sit down was very key and very good. But, you know, a lot of people got busted up. They got arrested. They got a lot of shit on the jacket that they didn't fucking need. And now what? You know, now where are we going? I mean, what? School's about to start up again. And now I guess what? Shafik's out. And they're going to replace her with somebody else. But, you know, I mean, we'll see. We'll fucking see. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I really wanted to talk about in closing? Just speaking of the Israel-Gaza situation, ceasefire talks are, you know, quote unquote back on, but Hamas has not come back, and it's understandable because they've said, hey, we had an agreement. We had a ceasefire that we agreed to last fucking month. What's going on? Israel just wants to keep changing and altering the deal. So what are we doing? We already agreed to something. So yeah, they aren't really at the table, especially with the fucking airstrike that I talked about previously, where over 90 people died. So, you know, I get that. Israel's quote unquote at the table, but you know. Oh, also, we approved $20 billion, if I'm not mistaken, because we're very scared of the tensions right now in the Middle East. That once again, Israel has kind of been stoking in their tit for tat. But yeah, we're making sure that they have all the war amenities that they need to blow up more children. So that's great. I love that. Or self-defense, whatever they're saying. My bad. I get it all fucked up sometimes. But yeah, that's it. That's the episode. That's where I'll leave it. How long did we go? Ooh, I went too long. You know, I try to be a 30 minutes or less guy, but what can I say? These things happen. Patreon.com/News. If you'd like to help out the effort, you know, appreciate any and all support. Enriches the podcast, enriches my life. And then you get a shout out once a month if you like that. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Free ways to follow me or the podcast, and you don't have to like feel like an old person sending an email. Any of the socials, feel free to follow me. Send me a DM, whatever. You know, at least see it. If you're a friend, obviously, come on in. Come on over. Let's talk news. But yeah, another free way to help out, subscribe to the YouTube or hit whatever button that keeps you connected with the platform you're listening on. Leave a comment. That's cool. We love that. Sharing is caring. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.